Well, I'd like to kick our time off together. My name is Reed Sheard. I serve as the Vice President for College Advancement and Chief Information Officer. And I get to serve with just an amazing group of individuals across the campus in a variety of areas. Always had a deep love for athletics to participate in, and also just the impact it had on me and has on our students here. And we have with us today Kirsten Moore, who serves as the Associate Athletic Director and is also our head women's basketball coach. And I'd like to at this time welcome Kirsten to the podium.
Well, thank you, Reed. Come on in. We've got a few people coming from the restroom. Make your way through this table. How awesome that this room is so packed. You can barely get to your seat because we had so many women wanting to come out, men coming out to support this initiative, and so it's great to have a full room today. I feel like today's sunshine and warmth that is finally breaking through this really long, cold, at least for Santa Barbara, and wet winter is really symbolic of this event today. It was 3 years ago where we had our keynote speaker, Tamika Catchings, speak at our luncheon, and she shared her inspiring story of overcoming hearing loss to become not only a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, but a Hall of Famer, an entrepreneur, a major league executive, and a humanitarian award winner. And then just a few weeks after that luncheon, the world came to a screeching halt with COVID. This college, led by President Beebe and his executive team, who we have the majority of here in the room today, have really masterfully guided us through the last 3 years with far less interruption to in-person learning than other colleges in California. But one of the ways that we were able to keep in-person learning happening at Westmont was to limit our exposure of our students, and hence the need to put large events like this on hold. But as today's warmth breaks through our winter, we're also thrilled to welcome back the community today to campus to really restoke the fire and build back the momentum of this important initiative. The Women's Leadership Council was an initiative that was birthed out of the Westmont Foundation Board. Studies amongst college students nationwide showed some concerning statistics about our young women's self-confidence. Anna Grotenhuis, who we're thrilled to honor today, heard the statistics and was determined to do something about that with our young women at Westmont College. And I can't overstate the impact that Anna, Penny Jenkins, and Andrea Common made as the foundational members of the Women's Leadership Council. This initiative wouldn't exist without them, and their passion to make a positive impact was the catalyst to bring Westmont female students and the community together for this important purpose. And with all that has happened in the last 3 years, I really truly believe that there's never been a more important time than now to invest in this initiative. Young women, and men for that matter, are entering college having been isolated more than ever during their transformational high school years, and most haven't had the opportunities to build the social and leadership skills that prepare them to step into leadership roles with confidence. Yet, momentum in our culture is shifting in such a positive way to recognize the powerful influence that women can have in leadership roles. And we want our Westmont women to be equipped and inspired to maximize their gifts and have the courage to step into leadership roles both now and in the future as they graduate and leave Westmont. And that really is our goal and our mission of the Women's Leadership Council, to elevate the expectations, dreams, and skills of our female students by connecting them with you, our community, as we work together to equip and inspire the next generation of women leaders. For all of you that have been involved with the Women's Leadership Council in the past, and I see a lot of your faces out there, from women who have taken place in our mentorship roundtables to women who have hosted small mentorship groups, we are so glad to have you back to continue the work that we were doing. And if this is your first introduction to the Women's Leadership Council, then we are really glad that you're here. If you haven't heard, as we emerged from COVID, our college is also making the exciting step of moving our athletic department to membership in NCAA Division II. As a female leader myself, in addition to the role that most people know me as the women's basketball coach, I've also served as the associate athletics director for the last 15 years here at Westmont College. And the NCAA actually takes women in leadership quite seriously. And with this transition, I've taken on a role mandated by the NCAA as the senior women administrator in our athletic department. And with this title comes a lot of extra responsibility and things that I'll be doing. And so although I am absolutely going to continue to support this important cause, the college needed someone on the Westmont Foundation board who can give this initiative the leadership it needs to continue its impact moving forward. So I am thrilled at this time to introduce Denise Fellows to you, who is stepping into chairing the efforts of the Women's Leadership Council. Denise, thanks for your passion and your willingness to keep propelling us forward in our mission.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. You have done so much for the Women's Leadership Initiative. We're so pleased that you all could be here today. We want to especially recognize the students in the room. We'll do it early on. Students, can you all stand? Yay! Thank you so much. And I want you to look around and note that it's not just a women's luncheon. There are many gentlemen in our audience as well. We want to thank them for promoting women in business, for affirming their roles, and for being here today. Thank you so much. Westmont College is a special place for students to learn, grow, and explore what God has for them. College really is the place for knowledge to be imparted to students, to explore their unique intellectual interest, and they're exposed to a wide range of thinking. Westmont is committed to helping young women discover their roles and dreams, and to equip them with the tools of a rich liberal arts education to achieve their goals. It truly is a time of discovery and honing one's talents, a time to acknowledge the things that they have learned in the classroom, that they have learned on the college campus, that they've learned being away from home for the first time for many students. The Women's Leadership Council was established to bring together women who are leaders in our local community and our students to inspire one another. We are just so happy that all of you could be here today. We would also like to recognize some of our special guests in our audience. Trustees Karen Rabillo and Sharon Rose, thank you. And our local media representatives from KEYT, Beth Farnsworth and Tracy Lair, and Krista Kirkirchian. From Newshawk, we have Kim Clark and Sheridan Taphorn. Attending also is Patricia Madrigal from the Bauer Foundation. Thank you all for coming. We also want to acknowledge the fabulous team here at Westmont. Part of that team of people is a wonderful executive chef, Ron True, who's going to tell us about our lunch today. Come on up, Ron.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today we have prepared for you guys a herb de Provence marinated chicken breast niçoise salad. So on the plate you're going to see some roasted peppers, radishes, marinated potatoes, olives, and tomato. So we have already gone through, I believe, with some dietary restrictions. We've made some modifications. So if you do have some restrictions, please let us know and we can make some adjustments for you. Also, going to desserts. The desserts, aside from the berries, are not gluten-free. You are you are going to see one of the bars that we made has pecans and coconuts. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Ron is well known around town, so we're so grateful to have him here at Westmont. We have so many excellent women leaders here on our campus, represented in the faculty, staff, and administration, that encourage our students to pursue academic excellence and to eagerly search out and live out the calling on their lives that God has given them. They have many new and unique college experiences here at Westmont, discovering who they are. Dr. Edie Schultze encourages our students in her role as the Vice President of Student Life, and her work encompasses much of what happens outside the classroom. Dr. Schultze is beloved by the students, and she is going to offer our invocation today. Please join us, Edie.
This morning I was thinking about a passage from Chronicles. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endures forever. So would you join me in giving thanks to our good, good God? Our Father, we are indeed grateful. We are grateful that you have showered your goodness upon us, and it manifests to us in so many ways. Thank you for your goodness to Westmont College. Thank you for the opportunities that we have to invest in the lives of our students. What a sacred trust we hold because of your goodness to us. Thank you also for this opportunity today to be together with each other. And thank you for the good food that we will enjoy. Pray, God, that our time around these tables will be nourishing to our bodies. Help us to think well about you and about each other. And I pray, Lord, that the connections and ideas that flow around the tables today would indeed honor you. Let your name be glorified in all that we do. And we do thank you for your steadfast love. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Please enjoy your meal.
Well, hopefully you've had a chance to enjoy your lunch. And we are so grateful again that you are here on this beautiful day. Hopefully you found that your lunch was delicious. Mine was. Please feel free to finish and enjoy your dessert as we start our program. It's my privilege to introduce the president of Westmont College. Dr. Gail Beebe has been here since 2007, and he is in the 16th year of being a president of Westmont. He's the 16th president of Westmont College, and this is his 31st year of serving in higher education. His first introduction to Westmont, though, came when he was a student from George Fox University. He came in the fall of 1980 and loved Westmont and thought, maybe I'll come back here someday, and he has. So we're so grateful that we have him. And he's a very active scholar. He has so many degrees, I'm not going to name them all today. Most importantly, he has a beautiful family. His lovely wife, Pam, is with us. They've been married for 34 years, and they have 3 adult children who are all Westmont alumni. Anna in 2015, Elizabeth in 2017, and Ricky in 2021. Dr. Beebe is known for providing opportunities for young women here at Westmont. He's especially known for doing this because he's the father of 2 really wonderful daughters, and so he sees the need and importance. So would you join me in welcoming Dr. Beebe?
Well, that was a fun introduction. And one of the things that's great about being introduced is people often exaggerate things about me, and I never correct them. So I am in my 31st year in higher education, but I'm only the 8th president of Westmont. So but hoping to go a lot longer. One of the privileges of having a unisex name like Gail is you get all kinds of advertisements. How to break the glass ceiling. How to Make It Forward in a Man's World. That was my favorite. And so on and so forth. But throughout my adult life, I have received advertisements to women's leadership conferences, even as recently as this week. I'm often mistaken because of my name for being a woman, and I have always wanted to show up at one of these events, which I know are not just, kind of anybody interested in helping, but are really going to drive a unique perspective. I've never done it, partly because I value my life and didn't want to have what happened might happen, but at any rate, the real motivation for my interest is indeed my daughters. It's also my wife. It's also my religious heritage. I was born and raised in a Quaker home, and my maternal grandparents were pastors. In the Quaker tradition, women were allowed to pastor, and so my grandparents, my grandfather, and my grandmother co-pastored different churches. My mother reports that my grandmother was actually a better preacher than my grandfather, and my grandfather had the habit of saying that he preached when he was inspired, and my grandmother preached all the other times. And so, we grew up just very much with an orientation that each of us had been given gifts by God, and that our responsibility was both to develop the God-given gifts and abilities that we had been given, but also to develop the God-given gifts and abilities of those under our care and influence. And this was just very much at the heart of our family and of our religious culture as a family. With 3 boys, I was the third of 3 boys, and then we had a younger sister. We all loved athletics. My sister wasn't particularly athletic. I remember that when I was a senior in high school and she was a sophomore, that she sat down with my parents and presented to them how much money they had spent going to my games, and asked that they spend that same amount on the sewing machine that she wanted to get. My dad, kind of tickled by this, provided the money, and then he also asked that concessions be sold so that we could have a spectator event as she used the sewing machine. My sister would go on. The last position she held, she was the elementary school principal of the elementary school we attended in Eugene, Oregon. It was just fun to see it come full circle. She has since had 3 daughters, and 2 of them are extremely ambitious and really succeeding in ways that are really inspiring, and just thankful for the legacy of always looking at how we can maximize the God-given gifts and abilities of those under our care and influence, which I feel as a father, as a husband, and as a president. Now, the Westmont Women's Leadership Council was established, as Kirsten said at the outset, to really amplify this need. The observation that she shared came out of a study that had been done I think it was reported out the year before I got here. I think it was your first year, 05-06, that it was done. And so we wanted to really lean into this, and the leadership came from Anna, and it was just remarkable to see the interest of these ladies in the community that had a connection to Westmont and also wanted to really just encourage the women of Westmont as well as the wider circle of Santa Barbara. And so that began this germination of an idea. We did some early banquets, and then we had the interruption. And this is really a reconstitution, an effort to get underway with making very public statements about our support and our encouragement of women in leadership. Now, it was fun. I didn't know this, but I had to add this after I saw Tracy Lair. Tracy, where are you sitting? It is always such a joy to see you. And I'll tell you, I watch you every weekend that you're on. I watch KEYT, and I was listening for the other news agencies, so I don't think I'm in danger of offending anybody by talking. And Beth's here. And so and I think of CJ, and at one point I was worried for your marriage, and so I asked Tracy, why aren't Beth and CJ on together? And he said, well, it's COVID. One has to be at home with the children. So there's the rotation. Sorry to share a private moment, but here's how I remember them. So back in 2018, we had just repopulated, and we had honored KEYT for its courageous news coverage during the Thomas Fire. And we were at chapel that day. It was January 8th. And it was just such a joy to honor you and to honor other first responders. Of course, that next day, early in the morning of the 9th, the world came apart for us. I'll try and get through this, but a week later, we were back repopulating to restart, and I saw Tracy. We were in the back of the gym, and I started to talk to you about it, and I don't know if you remember the event, but you were still PTSD from discovering the little boy who had died in the debris flow. And so every time I see you, I think of that. I think of that moment, but I also think of the courage that you bring to our community. You and the whole KEYT news team of being willing to be on the front lines bringing us news, because literally you are our eyes as we watch what's happening in our community. And so it's just wonderful to have you here. Thank you for being a part of it. Now, the part of my role was the opportunity to talk about Lady Ridley-Tree, who I just adore. And we sadly had to say goodbye to her. She passed in October, age 98, and she lived such a vibrant life right up to the very end. And so part of what we want to do today is we actually want to introduce and award the inaugural Lady Leslie Ridley-Tree Spirit of Santa Barbara Award. Let me tell you just a few things about Leslie. We got to know each other early on. Tony Askew, who was one of our art professors at the time, has since retired, said, I really want you to meet Lady Ridley-Tree. She's important to the college, and I think you'd like her. And so Tony and Barbara, his wife Barbara, brought Leslie to my office for a warm, intimate lunch. She would later report that when she first saw me, she thought, oh my goodness, he's a football player. And she said it kind of with that tone. Truth is, I was a football player, but I loved a lot more than just athletics. We would eventually start a monthly book club. That was our book club, and we would read everything that interested us. I would choose one month, she would choose the next. We shared a common love of Winston Churchill. I went to Winston Churchill High School in Eugene, Oregon. She actually saw Churchill in the streets of Britain. The last book we read together was a book called The Splendid and the Vile, which is about Churchill's first year as Prime Minister in 1940. Another time, she expressed how she was down. She would never say she was depressed. If I would say to her things like, how are you doing today? She'd say, you are so rude. I can't believe you would ask me that question. And I'd say, let me think of it a different way. And this is as she had gotten ill, and she was self-conscious about ever appearing weak or vulnerable. But this time, this was years earlier, she was just down. And it harkened back to a time my father had died in '89. My mother would live for several more years. And what I watched in my mother was the sadness that comes to a widow during times of celebration, particularly around Christmas. And so I started a tradition with Leslie where I would send her a floral arrangement and a poem on each of the 12 days leading up to Christmas. And she loved it. And I did it the first year with my wife also, so that my wife wouldn't feel like I was paying too much attention. And my wife, who was so gracious to me, said, you know, I'm comfortable if you do this for Leslie. You don't need to do it for me. So I would buy Pam a beautiful dozen roses and then do the tradition. But what I was trying to do, this was always private. I've never disclosed this other than at her memorial service. All of us need a human touch. And if you're living by yourself, even if it's just the florist dropping off a bouquet of flowers with a poem, that would brighten her day, and I think it would brighten all of our days. In the third year, I hadn't kept clear tabs of all the poems I had used. And so I used two from a previous year without remembering that. She drew it to my attention. And that's when I realized I was going to have to up my game. And so I began keeping track. Now, we would always meet for lunch right around Christmas, and she would give me a tie. It's a Hermès tie, and I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, the French fashion house that also includes men's ties. And it was always her year-end review. she would say, okay, this is how I think you're doing this year. So one year I got this tie. It's a gorgeous tie with stags, jumping gazelles that is just beautiful. So I thought, I think she thinks I'm doing well. The next year I got snails. And that's because I was moving way too slow on one of her pet projects. Third year was square knots because I was uptight. But today I am wearing the tie that has so many undercurrents to it that I can't tell the whole story. But this is a monkey. The pattern is a smiling monkey swinging over a lagoon of crocodiles. And so as I opened the gift, I began to laugh, and she said, in case you're wondering, you're the monkey. Approximately 10 years ago, Ron Worth, the CEO of Cottage Hospital, and I had the privilege of coordinating an effort among all the major organizations in Santa Barbara that had benefited from her philanthropy. And it was a surprise. We did it down at the Biltmore. It was just a wonderful evening. And Leslie shared her philosophy of giving that night that we later taped. And basically, this is what she said. So many times, and these are her words, I've been in situations where people would see a need and say, I wonder what will happen to them if somebody doesn't step forward and solve this problem. And then she went on to say, the only question I've ever asked of myself is, what does God want me to do in this moment? And I think that is such a wonderful testimony to the spirit of Leslie that really is the spirit of our wider community. What does God want us to do in this moment to solve the problems that we encounter every day? We're so much better as individuals and as a community for Leslie having blessed us with her life. It's just been such a joy and a privilege to carry her legacy forward through the aspects of Westmont College that mattered most to her. And certainly women in leadership was right at the core of that. We want to show a brief video, and then I want to make the award of our inaugural Lady Leslie Ridley-Tree Award.
It's not every museum that has 8 or 9 Corrots all in a row. And the reason I've chosen to give these to Westmont is that I can think of no more marvelous place. It's ideal. And the students who come walking through the woods are going to be looking at Corot. If they're going to learn anything about the French painters, this is their opportunity. I think it's so interesting that people have an attitude that our young people are selfish and useless. And I think anyone that says that doesn't really know our community, because our young people in our community are the most beautiful, wonderful young people who are going into the world and doing marvelous, marvelous things. For some people, faith is embarrassing. For me, I could not live without my faith. I can't even say it's the most important thing. It's the only thing I could stand on. I cannot imagine what life would be without it. Well, I am a blessed person. I think people are so kind to me. It's so wonderful to have friends. I think of myself as an ordinary person. I'm amazed sometimes at what I do. I just think I'm a regular person, plodding along, putting one foot in front of the other. My granddaughter gave me a t-shirt that says ordinary across it. Life has been very curious. It's been a great adventure, and I've never been bored. I just wish there was more to give. But of course, giving of your means is only part of it. It's giving of yourself, because there are many times when you don't have money to give, or many times it isn't money that's important. It's what you give of yourself and your energy.
David and Anna, if you'd be willing to join me on the podium at this time. Dave and Anna have been dear friends of Lady Ridley-Tree, and the story behind Dave is a class of 63 alum, so he has had a long history with Westmont. Anna has just been such an amazing joiner and supporter right alongside Dave. And as we had launched the nursing program, we did a press release, and this is what Anna said. I think is just so fitting for this moment. Lady Ridley-Tree was the catalyst for Dave and I getting involved in this wonderful initiative. Leslie cares so deeply about Westmont, about Cottage, and is always looking for ways to strengthen our community. It was her creativity that catapulted our imagination, and we're so pleased to join her in seeing this vision become a reality. And what you always hope when you launch a new award is you hope it's named for a person that fits the aspiration of the institution, and you always want to give it, you want the first recipient to be individuals that equal that. And today we honor and recognize your contribution to our community and to the college, and as the legacy of this spirit of Santa Barbara that we want to continue. The award reads, the Lady Leslie Ridley-Tree Spirit of Santa Barbara Award, given this day to Anna and David Grotenhuis, for exemplifying the life and spirit of Leslie, whose generosity made a profound impact on Westmont College and touched the lives of many in the Santa Barbara community. It is what you give of yourself that makes all the difference. Anna, David, thank you so much. Yes.
I want to quote my dear friend Leslie today. She said, "Giving is a privilege. It's a privilege." And it is to us. And I look around this room, and there are so many people here. I could name 50 people who should get this award, because you've given, and you've given of your time and your energy, and like Leslie said, it isn't always money, but it is a privilege. It is a privilege to give. And so I'm very grateful to receive the award, just because I loved Leslie so much. And it's an honor that I'm so happy that she's being honored in this way. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
That is awesome. That's hard to follow that one, Dave. I just have, in my role at the college, a wonderful responsibility, and the primary role that I play is to set up and establish moments, experiences with the college that allow people to capture a real sense of the initiatives of the college that the president has put forth. And so myself and so many on my team do a lot of work before moments like today, and then we love to step back and just see what happens. But today I decided to do something different and ask for, since I was helping with the agenda, I got my name on it to introduce our speaker, and just appreciate the privilege and opportunity to do that. Our speaker today is Lupita Knittel. Lupita has over 20 years of leadership experience in the K-12 educational market. Lupita is currently the president of 7 Mindsets that develop training curriculum and technology tools that inspire teachers and students to live lives of passion, purpose, and joy. Prior to 7 Mindsets, Lupita served as CEO at Planet HS, and before that, was the chief marketing officer for a company called Promethean, which is a global K-12 technology company. Lupita and I first met 21 years ago when I worked at Spring Arbor University as the vice president and CIO in Michigan. And she made a profound impact on me in spite of not buying any Apple product from her, which she reminded me of that last night. And you'll capture a sense of this remarkable woman, but we became close friends that day and have stayed in touch ever since. There's one story I would love to share. So Lupita had left Apple and had moved on and had landed at Promethean. And we hadn't talked for a couple of years, and I get a phone call, and she asked me to attend a global technology conference representing liberal arts education in North America. All I heard was, "Do you want to go to London?" And so I said yes to that. And I shared the story that I went to this conference, and it was a room filled with just extraordinary technology leaders from all the universities that really are hallmarks around the planet. And what I found out in those meetings is that I could keep up. And what I thought my life could be about, the contributions that I could make expanded, because Lupita got me in a situation where I could discover that. Lupita loves life. She's an extraordinary woman of faith, a tireless advocate for children to help them discover their potential. Please join me in welcoming Lupita Knittel.
Thank you very much. 21 years, and I did not know that story. You never know. You think you know somebody. Thank you, Ree. Delighted to be here. There's something very, very special and very beautiful and very powerful about Westmont and about Westmont community. And you can feel it here, and you can see it here. And I think part of it is the amount of caring and amount of love and passion that is shared in this community. So I am delighted and privileged to be here today. Thank you. So at 7 Mindsets, we strongly believe that every student, every child, it's a unique masterpiece with unlimited potential. And in many cases, the significant role to uncover or to discover that uniqueness is a teacher or a caring adult. So we have dedicated our company to creating tools, resources, and providing support for educators and youth leaders to really create safe spaces for conversations, for meaningful connections, for genuine relationships that are going to lead to transforming lives of the students, the educators, the schools, the communities, and the world. That person, oh, there we go. I'll skip to this one. This one. The person that changed the trajectory of my life was Miss Hortensia. Miss Hortensia was my 5th grade teacher. I know that's not a 5th grade picture, but it's a 1st grade, I think. But it's super cute, so I thought I would share it. I don't have a 5th grade one. But I am from Mexico, born and raised in Mexico. And from a young age, there was a path that I knew and I understood I was supposed to follow, especially back in those days, right? So grow up, do my best, get married, start a family, go home, cook and clean. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people that that's their passion and that's what moves them, and that's absolutely terrific. I have friends and I have a sister that chose to do that, and it's fantastic.
From a very early age, I knew that I wanted to do something different, maybe crazy, but I wanted to travel. I wanted to go places in the world. I wanted to learn a different language. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to share my ideas. And as crazy as it all that was, Miss Hortensia sat with me, got to know me, listened to me, and really made me feel that I could do anything I wanted. And it made me feel that I could pursue those dreams and they could be real. And she created a path for me to start experiencing that. So she gave me the opportunity to come up with topics that matter to me, write something about it, talk about them, and then she would allow me to travel around the school, go to the different classrooms to share what I have to do with others, which really made it possible for me to discover my passion and what I wanted to do forward. I'm sharing this story for two reasons. One, I'm going to ask you to think of who is your Miss Hortensia that's been this significant in your life. And in many cases, there would be multiple, right? But please take the time to thank them, call them if you can, let them know, especially teachers. Many times, they don't have an idea of the impact that they had in our lives, sometimes until years later or ever. So let's take the time and recognize them. And the second thing is think, who could you be a Miss Hortensia for? And allow yourself to do that. So many years ago, about 15 years ago or so, the founders of Seven Mindsets, Scott Schickler and Jeff Waller, were alarmed at some of the studies that they were reading about, although we all want to be happy and successful, the statistics were very few people actually achieve that. I think the statistic was about only 8% of adults were happy with their jobs. And they were really intrigued. If we all want to be happy, why so few are able to do that? So they set out to do this little project that ended up being 3 years long and multi-million dollars, interviewed all kinds of people, did all kinds of research, and they uncovered something remarkable. There was something very common and unique to the people that achieved not just lives of joy, happiness and success according to their own definitions, but they're really lives full of meaning and purpose and joy. And what was common to them was not where they grew up, not how much money they had, not their background, but really was their mindsets, the patterns of thinking, the lens that they used to appreciate the world and to form their attitudes and responses and behaviors and actions in the world. So that research became the foundation for the Seven Mindsets language and for the curriculum and the professional development that is used around the world now to really transform lives. So I thought I would share the Seven Mindsets. You want to know? I thought you may want to know what they are. Pretty simple. So I'll start from the top. Everything is possible. This mindset teaches us that we are all capable of extraordinary things, of living extraordinary lives. And we are encouraged to continue to dream, big dreams, just like when we were little, the things that we were able to do and wanted to do, and have the courage to pursue them. Passion first, the second one. This is understanding that we all have unique gifts, unique talents, unique genius, and we're encouraged to understand what those are and share them with the world. We often talk about what matters to you so much. What are you so passionate about? What moves you that you can't wait to do in a regular basis? And if needed, you would do for free. The third one is we are connected. This is a very powerful mindset. And this one talks about if we are able to achieve our dreams by ourselves, we're definitely not dreaming big enough. It takes all of us to be connected. This teaches us to embrace everyone that comes to our lives and put the pieces together. We specifically talk about creating a dream team, the group of individuals that are going to help us, that are going to support us, that are going to encourage us to really pursue our dreams. I really encourage you to think about that and create your dream team and also be open to be part of others' dream team. The next one's 100% accountable. This is a very empowering mindset. And this one is about each one of us are 100% accountable for our own success and our own happiness. This is removing the victim mentality. This is, I cannot say, oh, well, my parents were from Mexico, we didn't have money, so, right? We can't say, well, the government, the president. We can say my neighbor. We can say we are 100% accountable for our own choices and the behaviors that we want to move forward with that. I will share a little bit more in this one to go just a little bit deeper. The reason why we need to really eliminate our limiting beliefs. And that's just things that we grew up that get in the way of how we think and really achieving our dreams. This is really scientific. I don't have the research, but apparently we're all walking around with ants in our brains. Fact. Now, luckily, it's not this kind of ants. It's this kind of ants. Automatic negative thoughts. We get so used to having negative thoughts, they get in a loop and continue to repeat ourselves, and they become limiting beliefs that allow us to not pursue our dreams or do the things that we so desperately want to and are called to do. So I'll share a couple of quick examples. The one on the left, I love that. It's an elementary school that we work with, and we're talking about automatic negative thoughts and ants. And this young group decided that they were going to launch a campaign called Stomp Those Ants. So anytime that they heard one another use an ant, they will get up and go, stomp those ants, and really transform the way they were functioning, they were thinking. A beautiful example, when I was at the school, this young lady, probably 4th grade, 5th grade, stood up and we're talking about something, and she goes, well, I'm just not good at math. In 4th grade, 5th grade. Right? And it was lovely to see the colleagues, the classmates go, stomp those ants. You may not be good at math yet, but you can be really good at math, and we're here to help you. What do you need in moving forward? Imagine a world where we treat each other and we support each other in that way. It's just a very little adjustments in understanding the difference. On the left, another very simple technique, and this is flip the switch, right? It's really understanding, being aware of those limited beliefs that get in our way, and then understand how to flip them. And this is the, oh, I'm too old to start a new adventure. Oh, I'm too poor to do this. I am not pretty enough. I don't come from that background, right? And just understand that that is self-imposed limiting beliefs. And that's where we need a dream team to help us and understand the power of change. I'll give you a super easy example. I'm the proud mom of 2 daughters. I always say I have 2 little girls. They're 26 and 28, so not so little. And when they went to college, as a mom and as a protector, I was mortified. I mean, just every time the phone rang, full panic mode, right? Because I'm thinking something happened. They're calling because there's an accident. Something's wrong. And oh boy, the level of anxiety that I created. And guess what? None of those calls were ever about a problem. They were calling to check in, to say hi, to share some exciting news. But my brain went into full panic mode. I was able to understand that, recognize that, and apply that principle. So when the phone rang, I could tell myself, they're calling to share something that is important to them. And it changes the way we look at the world in our own inner joy and happiness and peace. Okay, back to the next one. Attitude of gratitude. This seem to make so much sense, right? It's just easy. There's a huge difference between saying thank you, which is totally fine and appropriate, and really having an ongoing attitude of gratitude, really being thankful for everything in our life, the big things, the little things, the positive things, and especially those difficult times that we'll encounter. Understanding that during those circumstances, during those difficulties is when we grow the most and when we learn the most. And if we can think, I am looking forward to know what I learned by going through this experience, and once I am on the other side, things will look very different. So when we're going through it, we can see past it and be thankful for this experience. I would like to take a moment, if you would join me in doing this. Gratitude is about practicing. It's not about forgetting the little things. And I would like to take a moment, literally 60 seconds, for all of us on your phone, and if you have a piece of paper or something, and really practice what we call radical gratefulness, which is thinking about the things that are grateful, not just the big ones, family, health, food, but everything that sometimes we may even notice that we need to be thankful for. If we can take a quick minute, and you want to jot it down, think about it. We're not going to share it. This is just for you, so you can write it yourself. Yeah, don't be worried about that. Can you time me a minute? Thank you. Normally I would play some music or something. This is really intense. It's not intended to be this intense, but I'm feeling the intensity here. So flip the switch. Yeah, this is great. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, well, thanks for playing. Hope that this becomes a little bit of a exercise that we do on a regular basis, right? And just take them down. Not that the number matters at all whatsoever, but what did we come up with? 3, 4, 5, 5 over here. Anybody more than 5? 7. Wonderful. It's not about the number, but I do have to share the story. Working with a middle school, we did this exercise, and this young lady, I think it might have been more than a minute maybe, she came up with 106. True story. Very clever. I had to figure out what was happening because she comes from some challenges, etc. But she combined her attitude of gratitude with her passion, which at that moment happened to be about cheese. So the list included American cheese, Swiss cheese, mozzarella cheese, cream cheese. Fantastic. You just have to love kids. Thank you. Okay, the next one, live to give. And this is a lot of what we were sharing. It's not just about money, it's not about donations, it's about one time, but it's living a life of giving. And this is about stretching ourselves to pour onto others and really impact the lives of others. This is about creating a legacy. This is understanding the opportunity that we all have to share and to improve others' lives. And I'll share a quick story that stayed with me and it shaped a lot of my thinking. Back in early days, as I was attending college, I was accepted to a wonderful school in college in Mexico. And after a year, I couldn't afford the tuition. I couldn't afford to continue. My parents weren't available to help either. So we had a conversation and we decided that I will take a break from college, go work for a year or two, save my money, and then go back to college. So I went and interviewed different places. I was looking for any job. I interviewed at this bank. I was super excited. I thought the interview had gone great. I thought I had the job. The person that interviewed me was great, and at the end he goes, just give me a minute. And he left for what is seemed eternity, and came back with this older gentleman, sat down with me, and really had a conversation. And he was not asking me questions about the job. He was asking me questions, and listened to what I said. At the end of that, he said to me, I'm not gonna give you the job today. You need to go back to college. And what I like to do is talk to your parents, and if they're okay with that, I will fund your college education. I benefited personally from the kindness of someone that did not know anything about me other than believe in what I could do. And his expectation was nothing for me to return to him other than pay it forward when I was ready. And as we are able to be in a situation that we can share, that's what we're called to do, and continue to do that going forward. The last one is the time is now. And this is probably the one that I struggle with the most. This one talks about being very intentional, being in the moment. And with everything going on right now, multimedia, multitasking, having to be in different places at the same time, this says be present in the moment. Really embrace every moment that we have. And the second piece of it is take action now. Take a step forward, keep moving. And that's what I struggle. I come from a little bit of mañana. I'll start that later. Yeah, I'll start the diet on Monday. I'll do my company when I have money. I'm gonna do now. take the first action and move forward now. What do you think? Pretty simple, right? I think the beauty of it is how simple it is, and we can say it's a lot of common sense. The challenge is to make it common practice. So I'd like to share with you, here we go, sorry. A resource that's available. We've created an app, a 7 Mindsets app. It's free, it's available, and you receive little quotes every day to just remind you the 7 Mindsets. You can go deeper, learn more about it, have some testimonials, some research, and it's been really helpful to me. So if it's something that you're interested in, please take advantage of it and download the app. I started the presentation with my crazy dreams as a 5th grader and what I wanted to pursue. And I want to share that I continue to do that. And about a year ago, after 20-some years of, I will say, very successful business career and environment, with the support of many legends behind me and supporting me, something was in my heart that I wanted to work in the nonprofit sector, and I wanted to start a foundation. I know nothing about fundraising or foundation or what needed to happen, but there was something in my heart that I wanted to pursue. Several conversations later, I am so delighted to let you know that I've taken this role working with the Magic Wand Foundation, and we are bringing the 7 Mindsets to youth around the world and have all kinds of programs, activities, and dreams coming forward. So if any of you are interested in learning more or getting involved with the foundation, let me know. It's going to be great. And I'll leave you with this. I think this event today has connected us in a very meaningful way. This is my contact information. I really encourage you, and I would be delighted to stay connected with you. If I can help in any way, if I can connect you with somebody else, any questions, any thoughts, background experiences, please do reach out. I believe that all of you are part of my extended dream team, and I commit to keep you in my thoughts and in my prayers for your success and continued development. And the time is now to take action, so let's make this happen. I was delighted to meet some of the young ladies that are coming here next year, and I am so inspired by your smile, by your passion, by your energy. Please continue to do so, and know that we're all here to help you and support you. And I'll close with this. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are seeds. You can grow flowers, or you can grow weeds. Thank you.
Lupita, thank you for your inspiring message. Your journey expresses a passion for your calling, and I think we can all resonate with that. I, for one, am very moved by your words, so thank you again. Congratulations also to Anna and David Grotenhuis. You truly exemplify the values of the Lady Ridley-Tree Award. We are so thankful that you are and have chosen to be involved and continue to be involved here at Westmont. We're grateful for you. Thank you and congratulations. There's one team today that has not been recognized yet, and they are an awesome team made up of the advancement department led by Dr. Reed Sheard here at Westmont, and they have put on today's luncheon. So please know we're grateful for all of you and all of your hard work for making today's event possible. Before we depart, I want to offer a brief overview of the ways you can get involved in the Westmont Women's Leadership Council. I have asked 2 of our students to briefly share their experiences at Westmont. So please join me in welcoming Katana Lester and Brianna Herrera.
Thank you again for sharing. My name is Brianna Herrera, and I am a first-year student here at Westmont, and I am from Ojai. This is my roommate and my best friend.
My name is Katana Lester, and I'm from the Big Island of Hawaii, and I'm a second-generation student. And we're going to be sharing our stories.
I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my journey and what it has been like for me. I come from a family of immigrant parents, and I never believed that I was going to get to go to college. I didn't believe that I was one of those people that I always saw going to college. And we always had a roof over our head, but my parents spent every hour of their lives trying to keep it there. So that's what I would see, and that was what was written in the books for us, was work, work, work. And I expected that of myself as well. That was until my sister Brenda decided to scrap that book and rewrite a new one. And she's right over there at that table. Yes, the little wave, there she is. She put herself through community college, and she transferred to and graduated from UCSB, and now she works at Westmont as an admissions transfer counselor. And she showed me what it's like to be first gen, what pride comes with that, and the hope that comes with that. And that made me want to join her in our journey of changing the cycle of our family. I started to try in school, which was very new to me. I was just trying to graduate so I could work like my parents did. That's what I saw. But I started trying, and I saw a future for myself, which was very new to me. I got really excited because I thought I could be different. And I got caught in the chaos of senior year with the excitement of applying to schools and getting accepted to schools and the stress of senior year. And I had forgotten that college costs money. And so that is when I kind of started losing hope, because it had settled in that I would be paying for my college without help from a college fund or from my family. And I started to lose sight of the future that I had planned for myself. My sister brought me to a preview day, which is where I met Katana. And the day we met, she asked me to be her roommate, and I was like, who are you? But yes, definitely. And that's when I told Irene that I would be postponing my admissions to Westmont due to financial reasons. And Irene said no. I was like, Irene, I don't have the money. I can't do this. And she said, I am going to get you here. And I hesitated to believe that for a while, but I put my faith in Irene, and I put my faith in the Lord. And soon after that, I went to a church service. And this is after Irene had told me about her group of pearls, because she was confident that I was coming to Westmont, I was going to be in her group. I was still kind of, I was not trying to put all my hope into that, because that's not what I'd known. But during the worship service, they started singing, and this lady on stage started saying, "You are a pearl. You are a pearl." And we were not talking about anything sea or ocean related, so I was like, that's when I learned God is funny. He makes jokes, and he was just trying to remind me, I'm on the right track. I just need to put my faith in it and give it time. And that's what I continued to do. One day I was at home, and Brenda FaceTimed me, and she was with the whole admissions team. I had my hair in a messy bun. I was in my PJs. I was like, Brenda, if you're going to call me with the whole office, you got to let me know so I can get cute, because this is not okay. And it only got worse from there, because I started crying. I started bawling my eyes out because they told me I had received a scholarship that would allow me to be a student here. And that was the most life-changing call I've ever received. I received the Bright Star Scholarship, and I saw my world just flip upside down. It was amazing, because I realized what that meant for me, that I have been blessed. And with this blessing, I want to continue to put that forward, and that's what I've tried to do since I've been here at Westmont. Since I've been here, I've been a part of various extracurricular activities, such as Kids Club, Latino Student Union, the Pearls CapEx Day Group, a leadership development program, a ministry in Ensenada. I work in the chemistry department, and I will be doing research with the chemistry department this summer. Thank you. The opportunities I've been blessed with since being at Westmont are unimaginable, And if somebody asked me what my dream life would have been like years ago, this life that I have now is more than I could have ever imagined. I wake up and thank God every day for what he has done for me and the path that he has set out for me, and the people who have supported me in getting here, the Westmont scholarships, and thank you to Diana for making this possible for me. And I'm just so happy to be here every day. There's so many opportunities that the Lord has put in my path, and I'm so excited. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Love you, Brianna. I remember the day she called me, letting me know after the FaceTime call I was skating. So I was jumping around the house in my skates. It was a funny moment. I'll never forget it. But my story is quite different from Brianna's. I'm a second-generation student, as I've said before, and also, fortunately, I was raised by a single mom who etched a path of pursuing a higher education in our family to cultivate the concept of college as a possibility for me through hard work and sacrifice, and I'm forever grateful for her back home in Bakersfield right now. Needless to say, in the culturally enriching small town Hilo that I grew up in the Big Island, if I did not move to California a year ahead of my peers, my senior year of high school, I wouldn't have found that gem hidden in Montecito called Westmont College. And to be honest, I resented this place at first, not wanting to give it a chance since it wasn't in those name schools, but I didn't even know what was out there at the time. I was stuck on an island, and I didn't know anything beyond the labels. As I first stepped on this campus, however, without a doubt, I knew where this was a place that God wanted me to be in my undergraduate studies, and I remember crying on campus and looking at the lavender and the bees, and if you know, I love lavender and bees. And through fighting my own flesh, I surrendered. It's just a feeling, you guys get it, with God. So far, it's not been easy with the challenges of leaving the small family consisting of just my mom and I, being a single, only child, combating the stigmatized mindset of perfection, facing the pit of anxiety day in and out, and so much more I could say if I did not have this short time. But I would not have changed anything about my experience thus far. Westmont was the first school that accepted me as I withdrew my other applications in a heartbeat after visiting. God blessed me with an amazing roommate, with a spontaneous initial encounter that is a story for another day. If you want to know, ask us. However, I would not have been here without Westmont's generous offers and support. As one of 2 art history majors on campus, the grace of the strong women such as Dr. DeBoer and others in the art department awarded me with a merit scholarship 2 years in a row for my writing. I'm also under the Ruth Kerr Academic Scholarship for 4 years, which helps the majority of my tuition to help support my mom and I, as I achieve my dream that God has been implanting in my heart since age of 8, of cultivating and displaying the arts of writing, speeches, and mixed media into marginalized groups to have their voices heard too. And currently, I'm trying to receive a music scholarship next week, so we'll see what happens, through my other high-achieving woman mentors, Dr. Lynn, Professor DiMaggio, and the rest of the music department, as I continue to strengthen my 11-year flute education. Not only financially, but prevalent women around campus continue to spark the flame of my purpose, inwardly reminding me why I'm here every day, despite the toil a new chapter in any 19-year-old's life would bring. Being in the COPEX State group with Brianna Pearls, run by Irene Neller, and our first year teaches me week by week how we are never alone, and through a pod who embarks our own journeys, we are still there to support, encourage, and take that leap of faith in each other's achievements, cheerleading on the sidelines as we each blossom to what God has gifted us. And through each of the courageous women in the admissions team, those in which I can go to whenever I need a shoulder to lean on, thank you, Brenda, thank you. I bet Brianna would not have gained such a faith-enduring personal experience anywhere else in any other place together. Thank you, guys.
My goodness, their stories exemplify what the Women's Leadership Council is all about, bringing young women to Westmont and helping them to have an impact on this campus, to grow as future leaders, to grow into the calling that God has given them. And there are many, many faculty, staff, administrators on this campus who are involved in the lives of these young women. And we're so grateful that you both are here, and thank you for sharing your stories with us. We want to just make a few notes before we depart from here. I want to give you just a brief overview of what the Women's Leadership Council is all about. And if you would take a moment in front of you, or maybe under your plate, there's a card, and we would love to have you respond. We have many opportunities here to get involved. There are few things more powerful in a young woman's life than having a mentor, of course, for a young man as well. Spending time with someone who can listen to their story, provide insight, and support them on how to move forward toward the life they feel called to. Twice a year, the council hosts on campus mentoringship roundtables, most likely here in this room. We have scheduled our first one for the fall. It's a Thursday evening on September 28th. We hope you will join us here in this room and encourage young women to come and meet you. We will invite the Westmont students, and we would love for you to share your careers with the students. We'll put you at a table. It'll be almost like speed dating. The students will run from table to table, and the mentors will talk with the mentees, but oftentimes it's the mentors who leave more encouraged from this type of an event. So think about that. We'll extend an invitation to you later in the year. Many of you work in or lead a business here in Santa Barbara. I've spent a good amount of time with the Westmont students. They are smart, hardworking, and they would help make any organization better. They make amazing interns or employees. Your consideration of making them a part of your organization is something I would invite you to do. As you can see the quality of the young women here, there are many, many more stories just like Brianna's. And we're so grateful that the college works incredibly hard to recruit and enroll students from around the world. These students have financial needs, and many in our community have stepped up to make a Westmont education possible. In fact, today, all of us who've purchased a ticket to sit in this room, you have helped provide 2 $3,000 scholarships for next year's incoming freshmen. So we are so grateful. Thank you for being a part of that. We so appreciate your involvement. We also have other ways to be involved, and my hope is that you will think of Westmont as a place where you can spend your time. We would like to really make this scholarship opportunity a regular endowment from the Westmont Women's Leadership Council. I believe it's possible. I believe we can do it. We would really like to be able to award more scholarships, larger scholarships to our students. They really depend upon our support, and your gifts have been so appreciated, and we are so grateful for them. Perhaps like me, you've been involved in helping students over the years, and you have a passion to encourage and empower these students. I would love to talk to you about joining the Westmont Women's Leadership Council. The council consists of a few key volunteers that bring energy, ideas, and relationships to help organize events such as these and involve our female students in opportunities in the community. If you would also indicate on your card your desire to be involved, one of the council will contact you and invite you to be present with us and get involved in a leadership role here at Westmont. I appreciate your filling out the cards so much. If you'll just leave them on the table, one of our team will pick them up, and you'll hear from us later in the year. Mostly, I want to thank all of you for being here, for all of your inspirational stories. We have not been able to hear them all. Thank you, Lupita, for yours, and the young ladies as well. And I just want to say Westmont is a very special place. I personally did not get to go to a Christian college, but I appreciate my daughters had the opportunity to attend a Christian college, and it's really makes such a difference in their lives. So thank you for coming. Enjoy your beautiful day. Have a little bit more dessert there on your table. And again, thank you.